Okay. A happy Holy Week. First of all, it is Holy Week this week. Very
Indeed.
excited about that. Gosh, I love Easter so much. You guys have no idea how much I love Easter. I do. And it's not just because of the chocolate. Let me tell you what's coming up on the show today. Governor Shapiro's home set on fire. So mad about that. Bill Maher, he recaps his Trump meeting. Very excited to talk about that. People are freaking out over Real ID and Governor Whitmer, the casserole queen. She hides in shame. She does that, all that, and so much more coming up on the show today. You guys can reach us and see us on all the things social at www.chicksontheright.com/links. Also, please subscribe to this podcast if you haven't done that already. We're a little late today, Mock's going to explain why that is.
Do you want to talk about pillows really quickly first, and then I can?
Let me do that. Yes, let's do that first. That is a great idea, Mock. You can get all the deals at mypillow.com/chicks. Use code chicks to get all the things. You guys, they have all sorts of stuff going on, like the sheets. A lot of good deals on sheets, pillows, towels, all that. Plus, you get to enjoy free shipping. So do it today. mypillow.com/chicks. Code chicks. Do it. Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry, we're late. Victoria's like, Mock, you got some splaining to do.
She had a morning.
Yeah, this was not a good morning, you guys. So we were ready to go. We were in pre-show. We were chatting it up and all was well. But slightly before Amy Jo and I connected, I did hear from T-Bone, my older son, who's still in Indianapolis, the one with cerebral palsy. I did hear from his house manager that he was on his way to the hospital because he was having trouble breathing and just was having some issues, which is not uncommon on its own. That is not a huge deal on its own. Believe me, he's had a lot of hospital visits. But once he got to the hospital, about, 15 minutes before we were supposed to go live is when the doctor called?
Literally 10 minutes before.
10 minutes before. So all of a sudden I get a call from the hospital, and this doctor from the ER said that Thomas had just arrived via ambulance, that he was in distress, that he could not breathe, that he likely had pneumonia, and that I needed to get there as soon as possible. And that they talked about ventilating him, which I was absolutely opposed to unless it saves his life. And they said it likely wouldn't. And so they said, you need to get here as quickly as you can. And so I dropped everything and we started driving to Indianapolis, which is about a 13-hour drive. And so that was terrifying. And Daisy heard the entire conversation because I was sitting right here. And that doctor said he was dying. Like that's
he did. He did say that. He absolutely said. The first doctor said that to her. And I was like, oh my God. Okay. So she hung up the phone and she said, I gotta go. And obviously she was hysterical, you guys. So then I went into the whole, okay, let's figure out what we're going to do today. Obviously we're not going to have a show today. But I just figured, I'd have a show for a day or two and then, I'd go meet her in Indy, and now he's doing a little bit better.
So I'm sobbing like all the way. We get about an hour out of town and I'm checking in with his house manager, who got to the hospital shortly after the ambulance. He had not heard what I had heard from that doctor. So when he gets there, he FaceTimes me so I can see Thomas, and he looked sick, but he didn't look any sicker than he ever has on any of his other hospital visits. They did have him hooked up to a CPAP so he could get his oxygenation levels back in his blood. And, he looked not well, but not like he was dying. Right. And so I couldn't understand what was even happening. And then I was just like, wait, should we be going? Because it's going to take us 13 hours to get there, right? I had looked at flights. The flights that were available today would have gotten me in like an hour earlier than driving would have. So it just didn't make sense. We were either going to drive or not drive. And so they kept me apprised. And then a second doctor called when we were about an hour in to the drive and said, Things are not as dire. He does not have pneumonia. His chest is clear, but he does have some sort of a bad infection that's raging that is causing everything to be, it's causing his breathing to be labored. He's likely septic. And so we just need to pound him with, a lot of antibiotics. I mean, I know that sounds really scary, but he's actually motored through sepsis before.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Sicker than this before.
He's motored through so many things before, you guys. Like, this kid is a rock star. It's unbelievable what Thomas has gone through with the smile on his face.
Yeah. So, the last, I've obviously been talking to his house manager constantly. The latest news is that his vitals are stabilizing. He's very comfortable. He's sleeping. They're just keeping him on fluids right now. And he's in ICU. And then his caregiver that we had back in Indianapolis for probably most of his life, Jamie, she's going to be visiting him this afternoon, but Trey, his house manager, is there all day. So he's got people around him that care for him, and they're just going to let me know. So if for any reason you all of a sudden see me leave today's show, it's because I'm getting a call from the hospital. So just understand, if that happens, I'm going to leave the room really quickly and then I'll report back. And I know that there's an early flight tomorrow if I need to go, but I'm feeling very hopeful and very optimistic that I won't need to go, that he's going to power through this like he always does. So far, all the signs are pointing in that direction. So that's what I'm going with. It's just been, I think the ER doc, I'm trying to show some grace, but even though it's hard, but that first doctor, talking about,
he didn't
know him and just saying things that were that dire was super alarming. And I should have just taken a beat and realized that they didn't know. They don't know Thomas, and they were just assuming the worst, not realizing that he's been able to power through a lot of this stuff before.
I still kind of want to punch him in the face a little bit, though.
I know, I kind of do too. Not that we condone violence on the show.
We never condone violence on the show, but a little swift kick in the nads would make me feel better. I don't know about Mock.
Yeah,
just makes me feel a little bit better.
It has been a morning, you guys, and it's probably gonna be a day, I would imagine. I don't know. I'm just waiting to hear more, and then we'll keep you guys posted. But that's what's going on.
Prayer works, so the prayers are welcome for Mock and for Thomas, and
mostly for Thomas.
Right. And we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens. But that kid is a rock star, you guys. I'm not even kidding when I say that. He's a trooper. Yeah.
He really, really is. So anyway, the show that we have ready for you is the show as of what was happening at around 7 this morning.
Like 3 hours ago. It's it.
Right. So if there's a bunch of new breaking news from this morning, I know, for example, that we're going to talk about the chicks that went up to space and that they already did that. We were going to tell you about it before they actually went up to space, but now they've gone to space. They've safely returned. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Even though that could be a little bit outdated, but we will bring you all the news. And I'm sorry that I look the way that I do, but hopefully you understand that it was a bad morning. It was a really, really bad morning. And it did teach me one thing as I was throwing everything into bags and like trying to get ready to because I didn't know how long we were going to be gone. I had no idea what to pack. I just threw random crap into a bag. But I will tell you that one of the things that I had the wherewithal to pack was a packet of dried fruit from ReadyWise.com. No joke.
Did you really pack some of that? I love that.
Yeah, because it's like, I didn't want to stop anywhere on the road. Like I just wanted to go. So I was like, it's going to be drive-throughs. I got some protein bars and I've got some snacks from ReadyWise.
Right.
It's for emergencies, but I feel like this was kind of an emergency. You know what I mean? This counts.
Yeah, it's an emergency.
This counts. So if you want to be prepared with either a 24-hour set of emergency food, maybe you like to prep even harder and you want like a 3-day kit or a month-long kit or a 3-month kit, you can get all that at ReadyWise.com and you can use code CHICKS10 to get 10% off of your entire purchase. I learned over the weekend that they have brownie bites. No joke. I would have been absolutely hurling those into the bag too. If I had them, I will be promptly ordering those. And they also have, like, if you're a camper, they also have water filtration kits, which I think is really cool for camping. So check out all of their emergency stuff at ReadyWise.com. And again, the code is Chicks10. All right, let's get to some news, shall we?
Here we go. Yes.
I probably not a lot of people are into golf, but there was a big deal golf story that we probably need to talk about for the people that are into golf, and that is the reason for my name today. Rory McIlroy is what I named myself, but Rory McIlroy won the Masters. It was a big deal to people like my husband, who watches religiously, and it was a really neat moment. This is his 17th try, I guess, that he's tried to, and this has been, this has been the one.
Oh
his
my
17th try. And
gosh.
He has just had struggle after struggle about winning this particular tournament. And so we'll just show you his reaction right when he knew he won.
The long journey is over. McIlroy has his masterpiece.
God bless him.
I mean, you can't not be happy for him, right?
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. 17 tries.
Right?
Never give up. Never. That is just a testament right there. That's fantastic. God bless him. I didn't know he had tried that many times.
Yeah.
I don't know the guy. I have no idea who he is personally. I don't care. 17 tries. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And so he's one of, I guess, 6. He's either the 6th or 7th person, I think 6th, to win the Grand Slam, which is like 3 different tournaments
titles,
that I
like
couldn't
the
tell you which ones
Masters
they are.
and like 2 other things. I don't know what.
Yeah.
The US Open or whatever. I don't know.
Something like that.
I'm not a golf person. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, my husband is into all of that. And so he was watching intently. And you know, when it's something like that, when you hear, oh my God, this is going to be such a big deal if he wins. Because Ron was even saying, you know, I'm really worried if he doesn't win this one, he will like seriously want to unalive himself. Like, that's how much this is a big deal. And I was like, that's crazy. Like, that is lunacy if you really mean it. I think he was exaggerating, but
still, that's a lot.
But still,
that's
he's been trying. It's been
years.
The thorn in his side, man.
Wow.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah.
And then I saw this morning the cutest thing ever, and that is a clip of Rory when he was 9 and he was on a talk show because he was already like sort of this prodigy, right?
Yeah.
This is adorable.
When you can't get out when the weather's really bad, I know that you practice in the house, don't you?
Yes.
And tell us how you practice in the house. How do you do it? It's not putting you're practicing pitching now, so how do you do it?
I chip air balls into my mum's washing machine.
Oh
Along the hall, in through the kitchen door, into your mum's washing machine.
Yes.
That is adorable. Little Irishman. What a cutie.
Oh my God. Just so freaking cute, man. So cute.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that was a neat story that happened yesterday.
It is a neat story.
Yeah. For those people who are asking what happened to me this morning, you're going to need to rewind because we just went through the whole thing.
It was like 7 minutes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So be sure to catch up on that in a little bit. In other sort of headliney news, Kim Reynolds apparently is not going to be seeking re-election as the governor of Iowa. She says she wants to spend more time with her family.
Okay.
So that is that.
All right.
And then the other big thing that happened over the weekend is just absolutely awful. And that is that some idiot tried to set Josh Shapiro's home on fire while he and his family were sleeping inside of it. And they thankfully were evacuated. And now we are starting to learn more about the arsonist. And so here is a news story about that psychopath.
We have, as the Colonel indicated, Cory Booker is in custody. We are preparing a criminal complaint to charge him. This is not a record yet, but the charges will include attempted murder, terrorism, aggravated arson, and aggravated assault against an enumerated person. These are all very serious charges. As with any charges, the defendant is presumed innocent. We will file those charges within the next several hours, and we will include a probable cause affidavit which will detail the basis for this arrest. I can't give you a lot of details because it won't be of record. I can only give you the charges, but the criminal complaint and the affidavit will detail that further this very day.
Okay, I have a question real quick.
Please.
In that picture you were showing of the arsonist, which one was him? Was it honestly, I can't tell.
I think it was the dude in the hoodie.
That's okay. So that,
Yeah.
okay, because they both look like dudes to me, so I couldn't tell which one. It was the person in the hoodie. Okay.
Yeah,
And
like on the far right.
And so are we considering this a hate crime?
Well, apparently there's mixed reports, and I'm sure there's even been more this morning that I just haven't learned yet because I was otherwise occupied.
You were occupied, right.
But I've seen reports that he's some psycho socialist. I've also seen reports that he was really super anti-Biden. I've seen reports that he was mad specifically at Josh Shapiro because of some of his property was sold off in an auction. I've heard all kinds of stuff. None of that is confirmed. That's what's floating around right now. And so I don't know that
I also heard that if he would have gotten a hold of him, he would have killed him with a hammer.
Oh my God.
Because he's a complete lunatic. He's a psychopath.
Well, and what's crazy is that, like, I saw last night one of those Krasenstein brothers, those idiotic Krasenstein brothers, and I saw this not just from them, but a lot of Democrats were like, so where are all of the right-wing folks who are upset about Tesla attacks? Where are they on this issue? And I'm like, we're all right here reporting on it, you idiots. Nobody is not talking about it. So all the Democrats who are like, you know, this political violence is unacceptable, they have been silent about Tesla attacks.
Right.
We're not silent when something like this happens. This should have never happened.
Of course not.
It's wrong.
Of course we're not silent about it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh my God is right.
This is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. I'm sorry. Was that? Okay. No, I'm good. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm going to be like glued to my phone this morning, but so just, I'm sorry for any disruptions. Do want to mention really, really quickly that when you need medication and you know it's something that is not serious, that would not take you to the emergency room, but you just have something where you could get better with a Z-Pack, or when you want to get your hands on medications that like have this taboo about them still, like ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, some of these drugs that the big pharma and like the government tried to keep out of your hands during COVID. This is what's readily available when you visit allfamilypharmacy.com/chicks. That plus like 200 other medications that you may need, whether it's antibiotics, Z-Packs, like I said, when you have a UTI, for example, or when you're just suffering with a bout of bronchitis that could be knocked out with a Z-Pack, and you don't want to go and sit in a disgusting, filthy waiting room at like some urgent care, just have that stuff on hand. It's another way to be prepared. In addition to ReadyWise emergency food, you can also have on hand emergency medication. You can get your hands on that easily by just going to allfamilypharmacy.com. Use code CHICKS10, CHICKS10, and you'll get 10% off of your entire order. Check them out. The house. So if you are curious about how bad of an arson attempt this was, the pictures are pretty extraordinary, you guys, how much damage actually happened. Like they are so lucky that they got out. I mean, this is absolutely horrific.
Oh my God. What in the world? Yeah, that's just terrible.
Right? I mean, this is absolutely awful. And they show, I think at the very end of this montage, they show Josh Shapiro, like, observing the damage and just kind of assessing the damage. It's just horrendous, like how much stuff got ruined.
Were they in the house when the fire started and they just got out?
They were sleeping. They were evacuated. I don't know exactly how they were alerted. I'm sure that there were smoke alarms or whatever and they got out, but wow. I mean, what is wrong with people, Yeah.
What
is wrong with everybody?
Well, a lot. There's a lot wrong.
Down.
There's a lot wrong with people. My thing is, how did he get close enough to be able to do this?
That's a great question.
You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a really good
I
question.
feel like these, governors and whatnot, they have security teams. You and I, we were friends with the Indy governor, and I remember going on a weekend, like a girls' weekend with the first lady of Indiana, and there were guys that were parked right outside of where we were sleeping. And I remember we joked about it. We were like, we have never been safer than on this girls' weekend,
right?
Because there were dudes in cars with guns, like right outside of where we were sleeping. And so
that's probably why they were evacuated so quickly. I'm guessing is because Secret Service was there to alert them.
I guess, but I mean, it's like it makes you wonder how he even set the fire. That's what I just don't understand it, because those places are usually locked down. So yeah, it's pretty
horrendous.
nuts.
Absolutely horrendous. So I guess that the chicks who went up in space, if you haven't heard about this, chicks went up in space today through that Jeff Bezos capsule. What's it called?
Chicks in space.
Blue Origin. Blue Origin, the NS-13 rocket. They went up to space this morning for an 11-minute journey. They safely landed, so they are back on Earth. And this is all kind of ridiculous, but and the only reason I say that, not to knock anybody that's gone up to do this trip before, it's pretty cool, I guess, if you're into that sort of thing. But it all kind of seems like a big fashion show. And the reason,
and they were riding in a dong. Let's just get real. Did you see it? It was like a big. I'm not trying to be crass. Look at it. It's like it's a big phallic structure. Did you see it?
I don't know if it's in this little video that you're about to see or not, but because really what the video announcing this whole thing, it was mostly about the fashion. I'm not making that up. Check this out.
Katy Perry, Lauren Sanchez, and Gayle King are suiting up for history. They're part of the first all-female space crew since 1963. The 11-minute flight launches Monday, April 14th from West Texas as part of Blue Origin's New Shepard program. Lauren, who's engaged to Jeff Bezos, helped design the custom bodycon suits with Fernando Garcia and Laura Kim, the co-founders of Monts and creative directors at Oscar de la Renta, who designed her 2024 Met Gala look.
Well, they're comfortable. Okay, that's for sure.
The crew even decided on the underwear brand, Kim Kardashian's Skims. Also on board, ex-NASA rocket scientist Aisha Bowe, civil rights activist Amanda Nguyen, and producer Carrie-Anne Flynn. One small step for women, one stylish leap for humankind.
Really? Is it? I mean, girls who are actually in STEM, like my daughter, are rolling their eyes at this. They're just like, seriously? Is it a big step for women? Is it? I saw this guy, I think it's like, his name is Ultra Grizzly Biker Dad on Twitter. And he was like, female astronauts, Houston, we have a problem. NASA's like, what's wrong? No, nothing.
It's fine. We're fine.
It's fine. We're fine. We're fine. Because women. Yeah. But seriously, think about it. Like all the fashion, look, they're boot cut. They're this, they're that. It's like Oscar de la. It just makes women look.
Yeah.
It's
and then like the news report on Daily Mail was like, and Katy Perry sang a song while they were on their journey. And I'm just like, this is embarrassing.
I kissed a girl. Is that what she's saying? Stop.
No, she actually sang What a Wonderful World. But still, the whole thing. It's just ew.
It is ew.
Speaking of things taking flight, there was an interesting moment that happened over the weekend with Peter Doocy, who is reporting from the White House to the folks at Fox and Friends, and a bird absolutely attacked him, and I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, Peter, I appreciate it. A bird just landed on my head. What is going on? Was that a bird? What was that about? I did not like that at all.
The back of your head, your hair's standing up now.
I mean, you got good hair, though.
What is going on?
That's probably so dirty.
To be scary.
Do you remember when we went to that lunch and that giant bird-like insect flew into my eye?
Oh my God. And it was like, we thought at the time that it was like this big deal lunch where we were meeting with the governor and like his aides and stuff. This is before we were like super tight with them. And so we're at this outdoor lunch and you guys, If a bug, like the tiniest bug, could have flown in my eye and the table would have been flipped over, dishes everywhere. Daisy gets a literal bird-sized bug.
It was
flying
huge.
to her
It was
eye, and
pretty
she
big.
was just like, and then just kept right on eating. It was amazing.
I wasn't gonna let anybody ruin my lunch, okay? But it was. I don't even. It was like a Texas-sized insect. I don't know what it was. Yeah,
I don't
flew
either,
right
but
into
that thing was humongous.
It was massive. Yeah, I was like,
That was
screw
crazy.
you. You're not ruining this for me. Mhm.
That was amazing. By the way, like the fact that Oprah was at the launch of these girls, because Gayle King was one of the people that went up to space. So Oprah was there on the ground crying, watching her best friend do this. So we were just talking about.
Oh my God, that's
before
right.
pre-show. She was like, I would never. I would never. And I was like, yeah, you would. If you were going with me, you would talk me into this, just like you did doing that stupid half marathon. You would sell it. You would be like, oh yeah, it's going to be just like going up to the top of the Sears Tower. It's fine. It's no big deal.
I probably would do that. If I were going with you, I would be like, listen, it's just like walking. It's no big deal. Like, it's just like
Fine.
something you do every single day. But I would never, ever make her go by herself, which is, I think, what Oprah did to Gayle. I think Gayle was afraid to go. And Oprah's like, you're doing this. And I call the shots. And I would
if
not
you
do
want to
that
keep
with
getting paid.
Right. I would not do that with you. I would actually just, if I wanted you to come with me, I would lie. And I would be like, it's just like walking to the mailbox every day. It's fine. And then she would come back and like her feet would fall off from like some sort of weird space disease.
That would so be me.
And she would
blame
absolutely
me for it
for the rest of her life. Yeah, this is exactly what would happen to us.
I'm pretty sure you and Chad on Friday talked about Douglas Murray and Dave Smith being on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Briefly,
okay.
Yes. Briefly.
Okay. Lots and lots of chitter chatter about that on X. Lots of people saying Dave Smith won that debate. Lots of people saying Douglas Murray absolutely smoked him. I tend to believe the latter, but I have not watched the entire episode, and I do want to do that. Probably would have listened to that if I was still on the road to Indy.
Right.
But there was a clip that caught my attention because it had nothing to do with the Israel-Gaza conflict. It had to do with the word retarded.
Every time I see people that disagree with anything that's happening, any gigantic world events, it's one of these retarded shows where they're screaming. There's the word again. We brought it. Yeah. We were just talking about that.
You did it early.
The word retarded is back, and it's one of the great culture victories that I think is spurred on probably by podcasts.
Yes.
But
it's one of the great cultural victories.
I think gay and retarded. We've won culture wars when we can bring both of them back and use them, in jest, right?
That cracked me up that it was like a cultural victory.
Yeah.
There was something just so hilarious about that to me.
I feel like Gen X has won.
Right? Yeah, that's right. That's a great way to look at it. That's a great way to look at it.
Yep.
You guys, I'm sorry, but I have no good segues today. My head's not in the game, as you might imagine. So all I can tell you,
you're doing great.
All I can tell you is that if you need to treat your dog to something delicious and amazingly healthy for them, you should consider this amazing product, Ruff Greens, from naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, who has put together the best nutritional supplement for dogs ever. It's got everything they need to bring their dry, dead kibble to life. It's a green powder. You sprinkle it right on their kibble, and they love it. They absolutely devour it. And they get to a point where they won't eat unless you do the sprinkling because they love it that much. And it helps transform their health in a really natural way. So it takes care of things like helping their coats, their breath, their activity level, their energy, and also just all of their innards, right? Like any health supplement for you helps to keep your body healthy. The same is true about Ruff Greens for dogs and cats. They also have Meow Greens for cats. And you can try a free Jumpstart bag, whether it's for your cat or for your dog. You just cover shipping when you visit ruffchicks.com. It's RUFF chicks.com and you use code CHICKS. Ruffchicks.com. All right, let's move on to some Trump and some stuff that's going on with like all the tariffs and all of the hullabaloo around that. So it looks like the stock market had itself a nice little comeback on Friday, which was welcome news. And Trump was on, there was this moment where he was on Air Force One with his granddaughter, Kai, and he introduced Kai to the fake news by actually calling it the fake news to their faces, which always cracks me up. Here is that hilarious moment.
Kai, come on over. You know the fake news? This is the fake news.
Hey, what's up, everyone? How are you guys? Good morning.
It's like 2 in the morning. You people requested. I'm always available, unlike Biden. Think Biden would do an interview at 2 in the morning? He would do one at 9 in the morning.
I love it. She's like, how are you? Good morning. Hello.
Good morning, fake news. Hi,
Good
fake
morning.
people.
Right. I'm a Trump kid. I'm very gracious and nice.
Oh my
How
gosh.
are you doing?
So funny. Ooh, can I just read this update really quickly?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
She's reading an update. Is it good?
Okay.
Is it a good update?
Temp is down to 100.9. Oxygen is at 96. Blood pressure 112/68. Heart rate 114.
Woo, woo.
That is all really, really good,
All
you guys.
good stuff, everybody.
That
Keep
is
the
all
prayers
really
coming.
good.
Keep them
'Cause
coming.
when he got to the hospital, his temperature, no joke, was 106.
Oh my gosh.
Which I didn't even think you could be that. And perhaps that's why that first doctor was so freaked out, which that's
could have
really
been
high.
That could have been part of it. Yeah, that could have been.
That could have been a little bit, but that's really, really good. But that's my
He
boy,
is-
man. This
he's
is what
a
he does.
He's a Marvel character. He is.
He really is.
He is.
He's just the best. Keep
We gotta get
prayer.
him a cape. Get him
Keep
a
prayers
cape.
coming.
Somebody, we need to make him a
He
cape.
has a cape. Somebody
Does
already
he?
got him a cape. Yeah, he
Does
has a
somebody get him
cape.
a cape. We need to get him a new one. And a shield and a sword.
Ooh, yes, a shield. And I don't know about the
Good.
sword actually, but yes, a shield.
It can be plastic. You know?
Oh my gosh. I better heart that so that they know I got it. Because
So
that's
many
like really,
hearts.
really good
Hit
news.
all the hearts. No.
All the hearts.
Uh-huh.
All right. Today, the El Salvadorian president is going to be visiting the White House, and Karoline Leavitt was asked about that. I think this was on Friday, and specifically about whether or not this guy, Kilmar Albrego Garcia, that all the left is up in arms about, the MS-13 member who was sent over there, that now there's been federal lawsuits to try to get him back. Because, of course,
Right.
you're going to work really
You want
hard to bring a gang member
criminals
back.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yay, Democrats.
Woo! So here is what Karoline Leavitt said about the visit and about that particular prisoner.
President of El Salvador is coming to the White House on Monday. Does President Trump want him to bring Kilmar Abrego Garcia with him?
The Supreme Court made their ruling last night very clear that it's the administration's responsibility to facilitate the return, not to effectuate the return. I believe the Department of Justice just filed another brief in the lower court. I would defer you to that for any updates. But as you mentioned, President Bukele will be here at the White House on Monday to talk about the cooperation that is at an all-time high. And we very much appreciate President Bukele and El Salvador's cooperation and the repatriation of El Salvadorian gang members who the previous administration allowed to infiltrate our country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just love her. Just
I do
love
too.
her.
Yep. And he means business, just like Trump means business. I love it.
Mhm. And if you don't follow him on Twitter, you should, because he's a great account to follow. Just because he's always like retweeting kind of the stuff that's going on, and he has these little jibby jibes. You know what I mean? Like he's got some snark in him, which is always kind of fun.
Yeah.
So follow him if you're not, because he's good. He's good people. Also, Stephen Miller was there's a lot of stuff floating around about this idea that Trump was doing favors for some of these tech companies like Apple, because there was the news reports going around were saying, oh, Trump is already exempting certain companies that have done him favors from the tariffs, even companies that are Chinese based or whatever. He's exempting them. So he's a total hypocrite, blah, blah, blah. This is what the news was doing all weekend long. So here is Stephen Miller to set the record straight on that.
Thank you very much, Carol.
You were targeting specific items from day one. Walk us through these exemptions, Stephen, and what they mean.
Yes, this is just another great example of how President Trump had a detailed plan from the beginning that's being executed exactly as directed. And unfortunately, some in the media are deliberately misportraying that plan. The original 20% IEPA, that's the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, for China poisoning our citizens with fentanyl, that 20% rate is and continues to be applied to all imports from China. When the president issued his reciprocal tariffs, our government at the time specifically said that chips and semiconductors, which are critical components of our national security, were going to be dealt with through a separate commerce authority known as a 232. That was always the plan because those components are so essential to our national security. We need to have a separate process for dealing with how to reshore those essential industries. When the tariff rate went up to the full rate of 125 on top of the 20, it was necessary to publish a more detailed list from Customs and Border Protection explaining the rates and how they're applied. There are no exemptions. Everyone pays at least the 20%, and these particular components are being put through a separate process controlled by the Department of Commerce, which is the 232. So this is a sophisticated, elegant, detailed plan to deal with Chinese economic aggression against the United States.
And that is precisely what it is. They're being aggressive.
Yeah. And so Trump clearly not happy with the way that this was being framed. So you're going to have a really big tweet to read.
Yay! Okay, here we go.
Ready?
Okay.
Okay, here it is.
Nobody is getting off the hook for the unfair trade balances and non-monetary tariff barriers that other countries have used against us, especially not China, which by far treats us the worst. There was no tariff exception announced on Friday. These products are subject to the existing 20% fentanyl tariffs, and they are just moving to a different tariff bucket. The fake news knows this, but refuses to report it. We are taking a look at semiconductors and the whole electronic supply chain in the upcoming national security tariff investigations. What has been exposed is that we need to make products in the United States and that we will not be held hostage by other countries, especially hostile trading nations like China, which will do everything within its power to disrespect the American people. We also cannot let them continue to abuse us on trade like they have for decades. Those days are over. The golden age of America, which includes the upcoming tax and regulation cuts, a substantial amount of which was just approved by the House and Senate, will mean more and better paying jobs, making products in our nation and treating other countries, in particular China, the same way they have treated us. The bottom line is that our country will be bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. We will make America great again.
Thank you for your attention to this matter.
I was waiting for that. I was. I love all of this. I love every single bit of this.
And not unexpectedly, I know, people are all like, yikes about this, but not unexpectedly, China is retaliating. Now, I do think that they're getting closer maybe to having a conversation. But as for now, China has just suspended exports of a bunch of critical minerals and magnets, which are necessary to us for all kinds of things. I think this will just simply drive the point home that we need to start building this stuff at home.
Here.
We need to start using our own resources, and we need to be partnering with other countries in the world that have similar critical minerals so that we are less reliant on frickin' China, which is whack.
For so many things, for medicine, for everything. There's so many things that we need to be doing here and not depending on China. Yeah, this should be opening up a lot of people's eyes for sure. Yeah,
exactly. We got to talk about you, Bernie.
What do you gotta?
Well, you and AOC, man, have been on tour all across the country. And I was at
Coachella.
Right. You were at Coachella. That was apparently a bit of a surprise. And we actually have a couple of highlights from Coachella, I think. Let me see what this first one is.
We got a president of the United States who...
Oh my God. This is Coachella.
I agree. He thinks that climate change is a hoax. He is dangerously wrong. And you and I are going to have to stand up to the fossil fuel industry and tell them to stop destroying this planet.
It's an oligarchy. It's an oligarchy. This is the best they have, you guys. It's like him and AOC. This is what they have. Bernie and Green Day. Green Day. I don't know. We probably don't have that because
I don't have Green Day.
We'll get a copyright strike if we play what they played. But they were singing about MAGA and how much they hate MAGA at Coachella. But this is who they have now is Bernie and Green Day. And I saw some guy on Twitter, a couple people, they were like, oh, punk rock is back.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, this is punk rock. Some old white dude that's been like suckling at the teat of taxpayers for like 40 years and has never had a real job. And like, I don't know, he's in cahoots with pharma and all these big companies have given him money. This is who punk rock is to you? Seriously? This dude? Okay. All right. That's cute.
Well, and the fact that he was like, that he went and introduced one of the acts was just so
cringe.
Like, yes, it's so cringe. I mean, just watch this moment, you guys. Yikes.
Please welcome Claro.
Please welcome someone I've never heard of before in my life. Claro.
Can you imagine being that person, that artist, and being introduced by the old white dude?
Right?
Claro.
He tweeted about it saying, thank you, Coachella. I enjoyed introducing the great Claro tonight. These are tough times. The younger generation has to help lead in the fight to combat climate change, protect women's rights, and build an economy that works for all, not just the few. And the thing about Bernie is that he has been preaching about an oligarchy since forever.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe us about that, behold the following clip montage.
This great country of ours is moving very rapidly in the direction of oligarchy. The United States of America today is increasingly becoming an oligarchy. More and more moving toward an oligarchy. We are moving in the direction of oligarchy. We will move even more rapidly in the direction of an oligarchy. This great country is evolving into an oligarchic society.
Okay. All right.
It is called oligarchy, and that is the system we are rapidly moving toward. This is a budget that moves our country rapidly into the direction of oligarchy. A handful of billionaires are moving this entire planet toward an oligarchic society.
Start off with the bad news, which is pretty bad. And that is that under Donald Trump, this country is hurtling rapidly toward oligarchy.
What a grifter, man. This guy. And there are still people out there who are like, feel the burn, feel it.
So, I mean, what does rapidly mean to Bernie?
As rapidly as the world is going to end from climate change. You remember AOC used to be like, it's going to end in 8 years, you guys. 8 years later.
And now they're on a big, fat nationwide tour together. And the problem with the tour is that, you guys, these are very well attended. These are not all paid agitators, right? These are people who genuinely think that Bernie Sanders and AOC are the future. Check out the crowd that was in LA, for example. I think they said this 35,000 people.
God, what a bunch of sheep. Listen to the screaming.
It's just unreal.
And then they're like, MAGA is a cult. Really? Okay. Okay. It's an oligarchy. It's an oligarchy.
So people were like, oh my gosh, Republicans should be so worried. Look at this gigantic 35,000 strong crowd in LA. And I was like, so we should be worried that we're going to lose California?
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
California's already lost, girl. It is lost in so many ways.
But then I quickly had to eat some crow because this is what it looked like in redder than red, Utah. That's Utah, you guys. And there was an overflow crowd outside of that stadium. I don't know what's going on.
Bernie and AOC. You think that they'll be the president and the vice president, or somehow? You think they're going to run these
Probably. Like, this looks like a ticket, right?
I hope they run him. I do. I hope they run him.
He's
run him.
83.
Run him. Run both of them. I hope he's at the top of the ticket. Run him.
Oh my gosh.
Wouldn't that be fantastic? I think it would be awesome. I know that you're afraid of this, but I think it would be wonderful. He's
going to just do this the whole time. Just a lot of this.
Oligarchy. It's like him against like a JD Vance. Oh God, JD would wipe the effing floor with that old man. I can't, and I don't even know who our VP would be, but whoever it is, it'll be fine. She wouldn't stand a chance. So I hope it's the two of them. I really do. I hope and pray.
That would be incredible. If he actually tries to do this again, it's just ridiculous.
Right.
Like it's borders on it doesn't border. It is absurd.
They're
absurd
insane.
for him
They're
to run.
insane enough to do it. I mean, he will be the crypt keeper at that point. Just go, look, do it. They're crazy enough to do it. And I hope they do.
That's true. Well, and AOC, there's a clip of her talking about how basically the United States is heading for a downfall, and she seems energized by it. I mean, you'll see what I mean when you watch her in this clip. Right.
Also, the other way I think you can think about it is that we are, perhaps we are in the downfall of the broken way. Mm. This was not built to last. Inequity, injustice is not built to last. Mm-hmm. It lasts a long time. It could last hundreds of years, but ultimately it crumbles into
Why is
this.
she there?
I don't know.
A small cohort of incompetent people that create damage. And from that, something new can spring. And so maybe something is declining right now, but maybe it deserves to decline.
What was that round table of freakazoids? What was that?
I don't.
No, I need to understand why they all came together. One was like, I played soccer. And then what was that? I don't.
One's like, I wrote 1619. I don't know what they were there
to chose those people. Okay, so she's delighted about the downfall. Is she's somehow
because it all plays into that whole idea that America's evil, we're irredeemable, it needs to completely be socialized, everything is wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it totally tracks. They hate America. It tracks.
Yep.
They think that they don't believe that it is the most beautiful experiment ever. And it's the beacon on the hill. And there's no place else to go if it does fail, because they've made it fail. Mm-hmm. I refuse to believe that it will ever fail, because I think that there are people in this country who love it and revere it and want it to be as successful as the founders wanted it to be. So she can suck it. She can totally suck it. Oh, by the way, somebody was asking, they were asking where that montage is of, and it's actually on our Instagram page if you want to go find it there.
There you go. And then last week I think it was on Thursday that we talked about the fact that like all these Democrats after the tariffs were in place and then there was a pause on the tariffs and then the stocks went crazy. Then all the Democrats were like, this is insider trading for sure. Even though they didn't really have evidence of that, they just were making this claim. And of course, Adam Schiff was like, we're going to investigate. And, this is all they know how to do. So to her credit, Kristen Welker asked Cory Booker about this, about what evidence they actually have that would call for an investigation. And he had a lot of trouble with that question. In fact, he was hem-hawing so much that I had to speed up his answer so that she could ask him again. So if you hear that, that's me. It's not how he talks for real. It's just me speeding it up because I couldn't take it anymore. Here is Kristen Welker and Cory Booker.
You believe that Democrats have any real evidence that anyone in the administration profited off of the president's policies and announcements, or is this just a fishing expedition?
No, here's the problem with Donald Trump and congressional Republicans is our whole system was designed to have checks and balances. Now, Trump has designed an administration like none we've ever seen before. He is attacking the very agencies that are supposed to have independent oversight of these kind of actions. So we see him hiring people based upon their loyalty, not based upon their expertise. The real
At
group
no
that should be
time
holding
does he offer
investigations and
evidence.
accountability
No, he's
and
not
even
answering
just
the question.
oversight is Congress.
But is there
for
any
every outrageous
evidence,
thing
Senator?
he's done,
Do you think there's any evidence that anyone profited
what
off
she
of these
asked you.
tariffs?
there is enough of an offense here. There's enough smoke here that should demand congressional hearings.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, then we should have some congressional hearings about Nancy Pelosi and her insider trading. Listen, open it all up. Let's see. Let's see who's doing the insider trading. I want to see. We all want to see it. Okay. If you're going to do the little congressional hearing things that you do, I want to see how much insider
And I'm sorry,
trading.
but it doesn't count as insider trading when he literally makes an announcement to the world.
It doesn't.
All over social media. Hey, now's a great
Listen.
time to buy.
We all know that. We all know that. And we know that he's done nothing wrong. But if they want to open this can of worms, by all means, let's open it. Let's do it.
There are AOC is one of them. So to her credit, there are some Democrats who are like, we should not be allowed to buy individual stocks. There's very much, this is a nonpartisan issue. There's people on both sides who believe that.
Yeah,
I totally believe that. They need to end that practice immediately. But Nancy has always been like, I don't wanna. And you know why.
She's always been Homer Simpson ducking away into the bushes.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, if they want to do this, let's do it.
Oh
Bring
my
it
God.
on.
Well, and Cory Booker clearly is trying to get ready for a run, right? So whatever Bernie and AOC decide to do is one thing, but Cory Booker is definitely trying to position himself. He started with that ridiculous marathon.
Yeah, he's
not filibuster.
He is Temu Obama, is what he is.
He totally is.
Uh-huh.
And so he's doing these town halls, and I guess he was at this town hall where they were talking about LGBTQ stuff. And there was like this trans weirdo who stood up to talk about like how they just want to live their true self, blah, whatever. And Cory Booker, because they asked, how do you address our concerns? What you see Cory Booker do is so pandery. It's the panderiest thing you're ever going to see for sure this year. This is about the top level of pander, but also not to be catty. Cory Booker has gained a lot of weight.
Has he? I haven't
Yes.
noticed. I don't really.
I remember when he ran for president last, and I remember seeing him on the debate stage, and he was very trim. You know what I mean?
Rosario he was dating an actress.
Yeah.
And now he's like, whatever. I'm going to eat the Twinkies. I don't care.
Yeah. And listen, I'm not like one to talk. I've gained a lot of weight because I can't move because my stupid knee. But I'm just noticing it I'm just noticing it. Okay. And again, the pandering was just, that's the main focus here. The weight is a whole secondary issue, but
look at we're all going to notice it together because we're all friends here.
That's right. That's right.
Here we go.
Here it is.
About LGBTQ rights, because as you know, we get attacked like every time a fascist government comes in. They say they're protecting kids, but it's not about the kids. We can't even live our truth because me going out every single day as who I am puts me in danger. So my question, Senator, to you is, what are we going to do about protecting LGBTQ rights and trans rights for those who don't have a voice that can speak up? This is not a costume. This is who I am, and I am not about to let him tell me who I am.
Thank you for coming. So first of all, can I have a hug? Yes.
Oh my gosh. I can't.
I think he said, I love you.
He did say, I love you.
Oh my God.
That is just too
so
much.
gross. So freaking
Stop it.
gross.
I love you. Do you want to make out? Do you want to like meet afterwards? Maybe like meet in the bathroom and, make out a little bit?
I mean, you guys.
Cory
Booker. All right, moving on. Let's talk about Real ID and the SAVE Act because people are losing their minds over this, and I cannot figure out why. Do you have a Real ID? You moved to Texas. You probably have one.
I have it. Do I have a Real ID? I just have an ID. I have an ID.
Do you have access to your driver's license handy?
I do right now.
Look at it and tell me if there's a star on it, like a yellow star.
I think there probably is, and I probably just don't realize it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Texas
that's Real ID. Yep.
Yeah, you have one.
I'm also a donor if anybody needs anything. Putting it out there.
Yeah, I don't think you should be encouraging people to unalive you just to get your organs.
Not a lot. Well, that's true. That's true. I have to be dead, right? I mean, if you needed my kidney, I would give it to you. I'm just saying. They're not good then. My kidneys suck. I'm just putting it out there. They're not good.
So anyway, there's a lot of freak out on both sides of the aisle about this Real ID. Now, first of all, before we play this message from Kristi Noem, who is about to tell you, you got to get it done by May 7th if you want to travel by air. Okay. So this has been in the works since 2005. They have been saying states are going to have to get compliant with Real ID. Every year since 2005, there's been delay after delay after delay after delay. But even I knew, and I'm relatively plugged in, but like not so plugged in that I know all the ins and outs of what's been going on with the delays. But I've known this is coming. Like if you fly at all, you've known that this is on the horizon. This was put in place long before President Trump was around. And now it's finally happening. So by May 7th, they want states to be compliant. They want people to be compliant with having a Real ID. Here is Kristi Noem to talk about that.
Hi, I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. If you plan on traveling, we need your help to prevent delays and to prove your identity. Get a Real ID. Starting May 7th, you will need a Real ID to travel by air or to visit federal buildings in the United States. These IDs keep our country safe because they help prevent fraud and they enhance security. Please do your part to protect our country. Go today and don't delay. To learn more, go to dhs.gov/real-ID. Thank you.
So that's not 100%, which we'll talk about in a second. But Sarah Palin was one of the people that was like so mad. She was like, or what? Evidently, existing ID requirements for American citizens just aren't adequate now. So Big Brother is forcing us through more hoops for the right to travel within our own country. Other administrations delayed this newfangled, burdensome Real ID requirement. Are you curious why its implementation is imperative now? And who came up with this?
Yeah, but if I obviously got mine just by going to get my freaking driver's license.
Right. It's really not that big of a deal.
Go get your driver's license.
And so I don't know why there's such a freak out about it. And if you have a passport, that is fine. That's fine. What they're saying is you can't just use a non-Real ID driver's license to fly domestically anymore.
Right.
But even if you have a passport or even if you don't, they're saying that there's still a window where it's going to be okay. That there's, from the TSA rules as of January, it says if an individual does not have a Real ID compliant driver's license or ID, the individual may use another acceptable form of ID as determined by individual agencies, identity verification and access policies. So a passport is fine because actually the stuff that you need in order to get a passport is pretty much the same stuff.
It is.
I don't know why everyone is so mad.
Yeah. And I feel like most people have at least one of those things or both. If you travel at all, you have a passport and a driver's license, right?
Right. It's just that the plain old driver's license won't work. So now when you go to renew, all 50 states, I believe, have the requirement for Real ID now.
Right.
So it's just not hard. And so there's a lot of talk about the Real ID. There's a lot of talk about the SAVE Act. And a lot of people are talking about those two things together because I don't know how you are a conservative who's just like voter ID is super important, but then you're also mad about Real ID. Like if you've ever filled out an I-9 form to get employed, you've had to show your social security. You've had to show lots of forms of ID just to get a job. You know what I mean?
And I think part of this is it's just making everything uniform. It's like all 50 states are sort of getting they're not sort of, they are getting in line. They're becoming it's all, it's consistent. We're gaining some consistency across the states to have this Real ID. So then voting it'll be legit. I think this is a good thing. I don't see why you would, as a conservative, think this is a bad thing. So what? It's just a freaking ID. It's an ID.
It just cracks me. Like the people that are worried about it from a privacy standpoint, I'm like, if you're typing that from your iPhone,
right?
And then your privacy is gone. It has been a long time.
They're doing it and scrolling TikTok at the same time, and it's like, okay, can you calm down, Brenda? You're fine. I feel like Like the real ID is the least of your concerns.
Yeah.
It is. Just
and so the SAVE Act too, like the way the Democrats are trying to frame this, they're all about like, this is going to disenfranchise, 70, 80 million women who changed their names when they got married. So now their married name doesn't match their birth certificate. What that is the most sexist thing to say.
Yeah.
If you are a woman, we're women. We had no trouble doing this. Okay. We're not idiots. It does not, if you change your name, it's very easy to go and get all of your records sorted out. It's cumbersome maybe, but you are not forced to change your name. So if you choose to change your name, you know that there's a lot of hassle that you have to go through to get all your stuff changed on all of the things, but it's not like you can't do it.
You're not 3 times. I was married the first time. I got divorced. I changed it back, and then I got married again. I changed it again. You can do it. I promise. If I can do it, you can do it.
This is doable. This is not. And people who are trying to say, "Oh my God, poor women," shut up. We are not. We are okay. Okay, like we're fine. We got this.
If you can't do that, you got bigger problems.
But I mean, this is the excuse Democrats are using for being against the SAVE Act. And Alyssa Slotkin from Michigan was on with Martha McCallum, and Martha at the end of this clip was like, "I don't know why this is a big deal. I did it. Everybody does it." Here is that clip.
Some states allow people who are here not legally to have a driver's license, so they want some form of backup. But do you believe that do you have a problem with people having to show ID to prove that they're valid American citizens to vote in this country?
No, and we already have that. I mean, in the state of Michigan, you have to be a citizen just to be able to vote and get on the voter rolls, period. And we had 5.5 million people vote in our last election. So, I have no problem. No one wants a non-citizen voting. It happens in very, very rare instances.
Sure about
but then
that?
just make the bill workable. But if 80% of women who are married change their names, their birth certificate's just not going to match. It just that doesn't make sense.
It's not that hard to. I mean, I changed stuff when I got married. It's not that hard to do that. But anyway,
what is that?
I don't know.
It's like how they say that Black people can't get IDs,
right?
It's
and
like,
so now we're the newest group that just can't handle it. We're just,
we
oh
can't
my
do
God,
it.
please help me! I'm so helpless. Oh my
I
God,
I don't know how to do things. I can't because I have lady parts.
So dumb.
Whatever.
So do you remember, it was like a week or maybe 2 weeks ago where we played that clip of Eric Swalwell pretending to come out of a doorway, and then a guy came up to him and was like, "Hey, what the F is up with this?" Right? Remember?
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was.
Very provocative. He is.
Very provocative. Very like he's so cool.
Edgy. He's very edgy. Saying the F-bomb.
Apparently this is now a series. Like it's a whole thing where a guy comes up to him as he's walking and says, "What the F is up with this?" So here is the latest, and it has to do with the SAVE Act.
Hey, what's happening? You're everywhere, man. Yeah. What the fuck is going on with the SAVE Act?
Oh, you mean the Save the Republicans Ass Act? It's the only way they can win elections is by making it absolutely impossible for people to vote. The SAVE Act would make it impossible. It'd be a ban on married women
Are you
voting.
kidding?
Why? Because it would require you to have your birth certificate to prove who you are to go and vote. Well, married women who change their name, they're not going to have a document that shows that. So
why would we have
crazy.
that document?
It's just another way to obstruct people from going to the ballot box. All it does is save Republicans. It doesn't save our democracy.
God, he is so gross. He just
It's a
oozes.
lie. They just lie. They lie and lie.
Yeah,
and
they
lie and lie.
They're banning married women from voting, you guys.
Right.
He is so disgusting in every single way. I get the heebie-jeebies when I see him. Oh my God, he's so gross.
I know. He's vile.
He's the kind of guy that if you were sitting at a bar and he walked up to both, like say we were sitting at a bar and he walked up to us, I couldn't help it. I'd punch him. Like I wouldn't be able to help. I don't condone violence on this show.
We don't ever.
But but it's like, it would be an involuntary response. Like my fist would form and then I would just I wouldn't have any control over my arm. It would just automatically punch him right in that doughy face. And then I would be like, I'm sorry, I had no control over what just happened.
What can you do?
I have no control.
Out of our control,
over
really.
my fist. God, so gross.
So I guess that's going to be a series now where like that lackey of his just comes up to him and is like, "What the F is up with this?" And they think it's so cool.
Super original
God.
Dems.
Here's some more. Here's somebody speaking like with actual reason. Representative Lawler was on with Laura Ingraham about this issue, and here is some common sense.
The Real ID Act was passed in 2005, and that is about protecting national security. Starting this year, you have to have a real ID or a passport to fly on a plane. So the idea that people can't provide proof of citizenship is a joke. And if Democrats are so worried about the cost, they can stop spending billions of dollars of taxpayer money on illegal immigrants and help cover the cost for citizens to get a real ID.
Boom.
Boom. Mike for the win. Mike going in for the jugular.
That was perfect, right?
It was a beautiful response.
Gosh. Well, and Karoline Leavitt was also super irritated about this whole made-up controversy, this faux outrage. She was asked about it on Friday, and here's what she said.
The SAVE Act, as you mentioned, was passed by the House yesterday. This is the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act. I believe I'm getting that correct. And this act is a common sense measure. It would require proof of citizenship for voting in our elections. The Democrats have been fear-mongering about this bill, have been saying that married women, if their name has changed, they didn't change it on their identification, would not be able to vote. That is complete fallacy. There are outlined in the bill about how to avoid that. The president very much supports a common sense solution to ensuring that only citizens can engage in our elections. This is critical to improving the integrity of our elections and also the trust that American citizens need to have in our electoral process. So the president supports this bill, and that is a myth that has been proven wrong by the text of this bill. And I believe some of the co-sponsors of the bill have been very vocal in addressing that. And certainly I myself, as a married woman, would not stand before this podium if the president did not support such a common sense measure.
It's just so stupid.
I mean, again, we're not morons, okay?
No.
Like we've got this, Democrats. We're okay.
And then
We
they
can
claim
handle
to
it.
be the power of empowerment of women,
Right?
And then they're like, but they're there, stupid women. You can't go and get an ID. Shut up, Democrats.
I know, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's time for us to be catty because we were catty last Wednesday and last Thursday. We spent a couple days and a couple different segments talking about Kristi Noem and her need to be out on the front lines, like all dressed and like holding giant weapons, pretending that she herself is capturing illegals on the run. And we talked about that again Wednesday and Thursday. And then Megyn Kelly, who we adore, also talked about it on her show Friday. Megyn went viral because, of course, that's how that works.
Because she's Megyn, right?
Even when we make the point, but like this, she was right there with us, Here is what she said.
Cosplaying ICE agent. And she, of course, is doing it with like 25 pounds of hair, only to be outdone by her 30 pounds of makeup and false eyelashes. There's no false eyelashes on an ICE raid. Stop trying to glamorize the mission and put yourself in the middle of it as you cosplay ICE agent, which you're not. I can't stand these photo ops, you guys. I think they diminish ICE. They diminish DHS, CPB. She's not an agent. She is an administrative policy person appointed by Trump because she was very loyal to him. Fine. But stop with the glam. I mean, she looks like I look right now, but she's out in the field with her gun being like, we're going to go kick some ass. No one wants you there.
Yeah, I mean, and this is a chick who, like, presumably has a ranch. That's why it's weird to me because, like, I think, okay, if anybody's ever worked on a ranch, I mean, when we go out and do stuff just on our little ranch, I don't even look like this. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, sorta, but you go out there, you are grubby and gross and you don't care about makeup. You don't care about hair. You have a ball cap on. It's like, granted, she has her ball cap on, but you don't have your 25 pounds of hair and you don't have any and you just are doing the thing.
Don't have
you don't have the and you're just doing the work. And so that's why I'm a little surprised that she does that. You know what I mean?
She clearly, I think there's a hugely insecure part of Kristi Noem, but also it's just an insane level of vanity. I've just never seen a public official be this vain.
I don't
and
know.
It's just weird.
I think it could be coming from somebody else. I think somebody could be saying to her, because she is a pretty lady. I think somebody could be saying to her, you're going to do this for a photo op. It could be coming from somebody inside the administration saying, here's what you're going to do, because we think it's a good idea for you to do it. And then she's like, okay, so I don't
really.
I don't know. It could be that somebody's asking her to do it. Because when I saw Alina Habba, is that her name? When I saw that she did something similar, it made me start thinking that maybe this is an admin call. This is somebody that's in the administration or people in the administration thinking that this is a good idea. And I don't think it's necessarily
It's a terrible idea. And I can't I can't imagine Susie Wiles saying, okay, girls, put on full makeup and hair and get out there.
Like I just don't Charlie's Angels. It's like, woo. Yeah, I
don't see. I feel like, especially because in general, Kristi Noem and Alina Habba are very glamorous women in general,
right.
Which is why I kind of tend to think this is about them and not about orders that they're getting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could be wrong, but I was glad to hear Megyn be as forceful about that issue as we were. It's just the tweet that I saw about it made me crazy because it was like this girl tweeting that out saying, finally, someone's saying what we're all thinking. And I'm like, what? We did that days ago.
You should listen to our show. Right. Yeah.
All right. If you have not heard Bill Maher's recap of his dinner with Donald Trump, then you are missing out, but we're going to catch you up. I think he did like a 13-minute monologue roughly about their visit. And we have a lot of clips to share, real quick ones of just the best parts, I think. First of all, he was talking about how he's just a guy with absolutely no power whatsoever. But the reason he went is because he does feel he represents a certain sect of people. Here he is about that.
I have no power. I'm a fucking comedian, and he's the most powerful leader in the world. I'm not the leader of anything, except maybe a contingent of centrist-minded people who think there's got to be a better way of running this country than hating each other every minute.
Yeah. It's true.
I think he does represent that group of people. He does.
Yeah. We're old enough to remember when people did that every single day. People were friends with people with whom they disagreed. And we had family that we disagreed with. And we were still able to sit down at a dinner table together and hang out. We were able to go and do things with these people. And we are way divided now. It is so different now. And I think that he recognizes that. We recognize that. There's a lot of people in our generation that recognize that. And it drives them a little crazy.
Yeah, absolutely agree. He also got like the full White House experience. He got the tour, basically of the whole entire residence. And that included that little secret room that's kind of off of the Oval, which is where Bill Clinton and Monica did the things.
I love what he calls it. I just love it.
Well, I don't even know if I have that, but he does call it the blowjob room.
He calls it a lot. It's so funny.
He does. But one of the things that it's used for now, or maybe the only thing it's used for now, is merch. That's where they keep all the Trump merch.
Isn't that great? I love that it's been replaced with merch.
Right. And so, of course, Trump offered him some, and here's how that went.
And he gave me a bunch of hats, but he didn't ask me to take a picture in one, which I appreciated. The guy I met is not the person who the night before the dinner shit-tweeted a bunch of nasty crap about how he thought this dinner was a bad idea and what a deranged asshole I was. I read it and thought, oh, what a lovely way to welcome someone to your house.
Fair point.
He has been a jerk to him.
Yeah, they've been jerks to each other, for real.
Right. They've been jerks to each other. So I wouldn't expect, Trump to be all ass kissy. So there's that. Yeah.
And I think Trump wanted to maintain, he's top dog in this scenario, and he's
the alpha.
He's going to see, he's the alpha, and he's going to see how it goes, but he doesn't particularly like the idea. But Trump is, as Bill points out several times, as you'll hear, his public persona is different than how he is in private. Bill Maher, I guess, stressed out a little bit about what he was going to wear.
But when I got there, that guy wasn't living there. Now, does Trump want respect? Of course. Who doesn't? My friend said to me, what are you going to wear to the White House? I said, I don't know, but I'm not going to dress like Zelensky. I'll tell you that.
And lest you think that it was all kind of snarky, it wasn't. Bill was very honest about his impressions of Donald Trump and the kindness that Donald Trump showed him. He also talked about how Donald Trump actually has a lot more self-awareness than he expected. Here he is about that.
He's much more self-aware than he lets on in public. Look, I get it. It doesn't matter who he is at a private dinner with a comedian. It matters who he is on the world stage. I'm just taking as a positive that this person exists, because everything I've ever not liked about him was, I swear to God, absent, at least on this night with this guy. I never felt I had to walk on eggshells around him. And honestly, I voted for Clinton and Obama, but I would never feel comfortable talking to them the way I was able to talk with Donald Trump. That's
huge.
just how it went down. Make of it what you will.
So he got home later that night, and you know, it was that same night that he got home, and then he turned on the television and said this was the most surreal part of the experience.
The most surreal part of the whole night was when I got home. I flew back right after the dinner, and I'm in bed watching 60 Minutes from the night before. And there's Trump in one of their stories, standing at a podium in a room that looked to me like one of the rooms and places we'd just been in. And he's ranting, disgusting, you're a terrible person. And I'm like, who's that guy? What happened to Glinda the Good Witch?
I did love that he called him Glinda the Good Witch.
Yeah, I mean, he met the actual man and not who the media wants you to see, right? I mean, I don't have a problem with that. A lot of people are really mad because they think, oh, he's two different people. What do you expect? I mean, at this point, the left has made him into a caricature of a person. The left has done this. And so he kind of has to protect himself at this point. He has to have like his public persona and his personal persona, because they've tried to destroy him. They've tried to kill him. And so what do you expect him to do? He has to protect himself. He has to have something that's just his own. And then he has a very distinct number of people personally that surround him. And he doesn't, I think he lets people in like Bill Maher. And I think it's very gracious of him to do that, especially after everything that he's been through. And he is himself, but he does it probably very cautiously.
Yeah, I think that's true. I do wish that he was able to show that softer side of himself to more people, because I feel like there's no negative from that. Like the more people that realize, wow, he's actually a really decent man, I think that would be great. You know what I mean? You know, it's just too bad that it takes like these one-on-one meetings for people to realize it. I remember producer Rob back in the radio days, he actually had to sit down with Donald Trump, which he never let us forget about. He talked about it constantly.
Every single day. Right.
But that was one of the big takeaways, is that he is unlike his public persona. Like he is so different. When you meet him in person, one-on-one, he's just softer and kinder and just not at all like what you see on the big screen, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
And he's also not crazy, as some people think. And that is what Bill Maher thought going into this. But here's what he said about that.
And why can't we get the guy I met to be the public guy? And I'm not saying it's our responsibility to do that. It's not. I'm just reporting exactly what I saw over 2.5 hours. I went into the mine, and that's what's down there. A crazy person doesn't live in the White House. A person who plays a crazy person on TV a lot lives there, which I know is fucked up. It's just not as fucked up as I thought it was. At one point.
Yeah, but how effed up is it for him to be the guy who is, I got to think of a nice way to say this, not swinging as you know what around, but being an alpha and going out there and being mean and kicking ass and taking names. I mean, that's what we want. You want somebody who's out there who can be kind of mean. You want that. I want that. I want him to be that way. I don't want him to be grandpa all the time. I want him to be the freaking president. I want him to be the CEO. I want him to be a hard ass. That's what I want him to be. And then behind closed doors, he can be grandpa. I'm sure listen, I have no doubt that he's a lovely man, that he's sweet and kind and loving and generous and funny and all of those things. It's just that there's a time and a place for that. And he understands that. That's why he is as successful as he is because he understands the time and a place for those things. And when he is a bulldog, he knows he needs to be a bulldog at certain times. And that's why he's successful. That's why he's president. That's why you can't be soft all the time. You just can't.
Well, and there was, I guess, one point where Bill was asking him or saying to him, you're scaring people. Like, do you really want to do that? And I'm going to let that clip play with just the last two because they're all so short. So essentially, he's going to ask about, or he's going to suggest that Trump is scaring people, and does he want to change that? But then he also, I can't read my own writing, doesn't? Oh, he also makes the point again about about the fact that he just doesn't understand why there's these two personas, which means that he needs to listen to you on our show. But here are the last three clips just smooshed together.
I said to him, you're scaring people. Do you really want to be scaring your own citizens so much? And I know now you're all saying, and what did he say to that? Honestly, I don't remember. But it wasn't, okay, I'll stop. So MAGA fans, don't worry. Your boy gave me nothing. Just hats. Hats and a very generous amount of time and a willingness to listen and accept me as a possible friend, even though I'm not MAGA, which was the point of the dinner. And we agreed. The people who don't even want us to talk, we don't like you. Trump was gracious and measured, and why he isn't that in other settings, I don't know, and I can't answer, and it's not my place to answer. I'm just telling you what I saw, and I wasn't high.
I kind of love that. He doesn't scare me. Strong men don't scare me. I think strong men scare weak people. And I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings, but I think that that's just the truth. I think strong men like Trump scare weak people. And I think there are a lot of weak people in this country. I just do.
Well, and people who are just hell-bent on hating him no matter what they learn about him, that you're never going to change the minds of some people. Bill Maher has always had an element of open-mindedness, especially when it comes to the woke stuff, to Islam. There's a lot of issues on which we agree with him.
Right.
Mostly not, but there are some, which shows that he does have an open mind. So he really was probably the right person
totally
to do this with. You know what I mean?
So too. It's nice to see them sit down and that is together and have a conversation. That's how it used to be. And honestly, that is it was something that's how our country should be. Let's put it that way. It's how we should be more. But I think people are so rabid now because, again, I think there are a lot of weak people in our country that are just incapable of doing what Bill Maher did. So, I mean, more power to Bill Maher for sitting down and being able to look at this objectively and say the things objectively. So, I mean, I give him kudos for that. And I give Trump many props for inviting him to the sacred White House, So good for him. Good for both of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it was nothing. I don't think it was anything but a positive for sure. Dana White was also there, and he was on with, I think, Laura Trump to give his assessment of how it went down. Here he is.
Bill Maher walks into the Oval Office and he's like, there's no way in hell I was showing up without a suit on. And I didn't have a suit on. And Bill Maher looks at me and he goes, this is definitely from the Zelensky collection.
Oh my, that's a pretty good start.
That's a good
way to start.
It was hilarious. It was funny. It was fun. There was a lot of really good and smart conversation that went back and forth between him and the president. And Kid Rock and I just sort of sat there and let those two have their time together. Wow. It was awesome.
And that's nice.
That's super cool. Trump also attended a UFC fight with his granddaughter and a whole bunch of his cabinet folks in tow. And, it's always like an unbelievable entrance, right? Like they give him a massive entrance. The place always absolutely erupts and it's so fun. There was a moment, however, that caught everybody's attention, which is when he was shaking hands with everybody as he's passing by. RFK Jr. and his wife, Cheryl Hines, were there. He shook RFK Jr.'s hand and then just went right by Cheryl, and everybody glommed onto it. Like, oh my God, he totally dissed her. He ended up going back and like having a conversation with her as well. So this didn't end up being the big deal that it was, but here is what people saw initially.
Look at is that probably at first, but
Yeah, but
distracted.
then he was just distracted. That's all that happened there.
It's easy to get. I can imagine how distracting that would be.
Oh my God,
I would
right?
forget everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. He also gave a big fat hug to Joe Rogan. And apparently Joe said something like, "I'm so happy for you." I don't exactly know the context, but here was that moment.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
That's really sweet.
And then, of course, the big news over the weekend came in that he released his health records. He just had a big fat checkup, which included a cognitive exam, which he aced with flying colors. And he was very, very excited about it. He's lost 20 pounds since his first term. The House physician, Navy Captain Sean Barbabella, says that Trump is fully fit to serve and he has an active lifestyle. His blood pressure is great. So all of that came back just fantastic.
God, I would hate that if everybody had to know all of my
Right?
crap. It's like, and Daisy's weighing in at blah, blah, blah.
I know,
My
right?
blood pressure is this today. I mean, wouldn't that suck?
I know. It's so
God,
intrusive.
it'd be so awful. How'd your gynecological exam go today? I just open up. It's like just crazy. But yeah, I guess we pay him, right? I mean, we have to know these things. We
gotta know it.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember last week? It must have been on maybe Wednesday, Thursday, when Gretchen Whitmer was in the Oval Office and like Trump said all these nice things about her, and we played that clip of him saying what a great job she's doing in
Weird.
Michigan.
Very
Well, now
weird.
we're learning more about that visit, and we're learning that she thought that she was about to walk into the Oval for a private meeting with Donald Trump, which obviously was not the case. It was full of reporters and all kinds of other people were in there. So she did not want to be on camera, apparently. And so now there's this absolutely cringe photograph of her floating around, covering her face, trying to avoid being caught on camera talking to Donald Trump, which makes it 10 times worse than if she would have just been like, this is fine. You know what I mean?
What is her problem, man? I swear.
I don't know. It's just, but this is an iconic image. Like she will never live this down.
No,
this
it is like
so
it is.
embarrassing.
You're right. It is completely. She is the phoniest of phonies.
Totally.
She
And so
really
she was asked about it and admitted that she was not prepared to be in a public meeting. But here is what she said about it when she was asked.
How was the Oval Office yesterday?
Well, I think you heard the young man in there. You got to show up, right?
You got to show up.
Did he
You want results, you got to show up. So
Did he make
I'm
you feel
showing up for
comfortable?
Michigan.
Did he make you feel comfortable?
You know, I did not know. They walked me in. I thought I was going into our private meeting, and of course it was that press conference. But I did have the opportunity to chat with the president, as you heard him say, some great things about Selfridge, about protecting the Great Lakes. And I also, the primary purpose was to talk about the ice storm and the recovery that is on.
I have no emotion on my face because of all the tox. There's so much tox in my face. It's a lot. I just look constantly surprised.
She's so cringe.
Nothing says showing up like covering your face.
Right?
Your freshly Botoxed face.
That was the worst thing that she could have done. The absolute worst.
Absolute.
I don't know why she did it, but that's what she did. And then on top of that, she released another super cringe video. So I don't know what the Jennifer thing is, but her caption to her video said, "And don't call me Shirley or Jennifer. While I might not be able to fix your window, you best believe that we're hard at work fixing the damn roads." Don't ask me about the Jennifer reference. I don't understand.
What is the fixation of Democrats cursing all the time? It's one thing for us to do it on a podcast, but what is it with all these elected officials who are Democrats like cursing all the time? I don't get it. Listen, I'm not a prude. Y'all know I'm not a prude. You know that. But I don't get this. Is it like, did they get it? Was it a directive? Was it a mandate from the top?
Because they're all doing it.
It's
They're
David
all
Hogg.
doing it.
It's David.
Yes,
David Hogg said this is a
exactly.
good idea. Let's do it. It makes us sound cool. They're just, it's a little much. They need to stop. They need to tone it down.
if you think this tweet is bad, wait till you see the accompanying video. Brace yourselves for cringe.
Here we go.
People are always asking me, Jennifer, how do you fix a window? How the hell should I know? And my name's not Jennifer. I'm Gretchen, and I can tell you how we're fixing the damn roads. Through the end of this construction season, we will have fixed, repaired, or replaced nearly 24,000 lane miles of road and 1,900 bridges, all while supporting thousands of good paying jobs. But we're not done. We're gonna keep going, fixing roads with the right mix of materials so they're built to last. So I can't help you with your window, but if your question is how do we keep moving Michigan forward, that I've got covered.
Is that her house? That's really nice.
I mean,
did Michigan?
What
pay
was
for
the
that?
Jennifer thing? How do you fix a window, Jennifer? I get asked that all the time.
I don't
What?
know. Does anybody know what that means? I don't know.
Does somebody? Is there
Fix
an
the
inside
damn
joke
roads,
in
but
Michigan that we
Kathy-
just don't know about?
Kathy said that "fix the damn roads" was her catch slogan.
Okay, but the Jennifer, what's the Jennifer reference?
Because Jennifer Granholm was governor.
But that was like ages ago.
I have no idea.
Is it that people think that that's still her?
I don't know. She's probably drunk.
Yeah, I don't get it. But it is time for some My Pillow Talks, and we are going to start with the most horrific version of Billie Jean that you have ever heard in your entire life. Behold.
Billie Jean, not my love. Oh, she's just some girl who can let I am the one.
Oh my God.
The cat is not my song.
Are the guys behind him thinking it's great?
I am the one. The cat is not my song.
He's got the moves, man.
No, he doesn't. He does not have the moves. He has no moves. No. No moves. That was awful.
If you are wanting an explanation for that, sadly, I do not have one.
Did Spencer send that to you? Did he?
But it's because of Spencer that probably ended up in my algorithm.
Yeah, that's why. We blame Spencer. That's the kind of stuff that he sends us all the time, you guys.
You are just as bad.
I know I am. I am. Guilty as charged. But that one in particular, I blame on Spencer.
I think we can. I think we safely can.
Good Lord.
You guys, we just had McDonald's. I think it was because when we went to North Carolina to see our son this weekend, we stopped at McDonald's, and this is so accurate about how McDonald's prepares your food. Check this out.
Yes.
Yeah, you thought.
Yes, it's so accurate. It's accurate. That's so accurate. It is.
Right?
Oh
I mean,
my
it's
God. I
the
will say
most
that
accurate.
we got McDonald's on the way home from the baptism this weekend. All we wanted was fries and Diet Coke, right? That's it. They have baskets of fries now.
What?
I know. That is America, you guys.
What are you saying? What do you mean? What does that look like?
Giant. It's like you get a bag and then there's like a basket of fries. You can get a large fry, you get a basket of fries. Needless to say, we ordered the basket of fries.
Just
Yes.
one?
Well, my daughter wanted the basket, and then I had some of hers.
Okay.
Because you guys, baskets of fries. That's all I'm
I
saying.
didn't know that.
Yeah, you do
Oh,
now. And so when I
man.
come
Yeah, I do.
visit, we're going to be going to get baskets of fries.
That's right, we
That's
are.
what we do. It's like we don't do fancy. We do baskets of fries. You know what I'm saying? Right.
All right, we got to get some animals. We got to get to some animals, and I do have animals. For example, a child versus a sheep. There's a standoff, you guys. This kid is squaring up.
I love this. Get it. It's going places. Oh yeah, he's going places. This kid.
I love that so much.
That's a farm kid right there. He's not taking any shit.
There's also, I don't know how many of you have ever had the opportunity to hear what a baby camel sounds like.
This is the most precious thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. You'll know why that's funny when you hear the baby camel. Yes.
Hey. Can you say hey? Hey. 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 Hey.
I need one, you guys. I need one.
How do you not have a camel? How?
I don't know. Coda wants one too, don't you, buddy? You know you want one too. I know.
They would get along so good. A baby camel and Coda. Oh my gosh.
Oh God, I know. He basically is a baby camel. Aren't you?
He is kind of like a baby camel.
You are. Are you a baby camel? Yeah, I know. He is. He's a baby camel.
So
oh my God.
Great. Okay, last one, you guys. Last one. And no, I'm sorry. I have two more things, but one more video. And that is this dog and this video. This whole camera trick is the best thing you will ever see. It makes me wish for a second that I had a small dog.
Just for a second.
Just for a second. Just
Right.
to do this video.
You only need the light when it's burning low.
You need to try that with Maisie. You got to.
She won't even let me pick her up. She hates it.
I'm gonna try
She
it.
hates
I'm gonna try it with Theo. He's like 80
requires
pounds.
some serious upper body strength.
It does. It's 80 pounds. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it with Theo. See what he does. Oh my
Okay, and
God.
then lastly, I want you to read the sweetest thing ever. This is just I think the question was, what's the kindest thing a pet has ever done for you? And when you read this answer, it totally made me well up, you guys. Is this so sweet? I don't know.
It's gonna make
We'll
me cry.
see.
Okay.
Read this.
I don't
Read out
remember
loud.
this. Okay, I don't remember this myself because I was too young. My parents had a dog named Charlie who was absolutely terrified of the vacuum cleaner. But after I was born, anytime my mother vacuumed, Charlie would stand steadfast between me and the vacuum cleaner, trembling in every limb, my mother says, but determined to protect baby me from that monster.
Can you just imagine like this terrified dog?
And he was like, don't eat the baby. Don't eat the baby. Oh my God. I love that
It's
dog.
unbearable. It's
It
unbearably
is.
sweet.
We don't
Oh,
deserve
God.
dogs. We don't deserve them, you
We
guys.
don't. We don't.
We don't deserve dogs.
I have some thank yous that are very belated from Thursday.
Oh my God.
I know. And then a couple from the weekend and then some more from today. So we'll start from last week. From the Ball Pit crew, Kelly 1106 said, I agree with Amy. Trump is playing the game by keeping his enemies closer. He's
Okay.
playing the long game. He isn't saying that the pause was planned so that these countries will come to the table to negotiate instead of waiting him out. Trump is strategic.
Strategery.
Thank you, Kelly. David Dickens said, sorry, forgot to mention my niece's name. It's Leah. She is on her high school basketball and track and field teams.
Very cool.
So that is cool. Sheila Douglason said from the April 10th show, the reporter that asked Trump the question and Trump said he loved him, that was Link Lauren. He goes on Megyn Kelly frequently. You should have him on your show.
Oh, okay.
Dana Spain, our friend Dana, said, hello, beautiful chicks. True elevator stories. Yesterday, I met Representative Burchett. I got a howdy, ma'am, but no dad gum. I met John Kirby last year, Keanu Reeves in both New York and London, and I met my hot hubby in an elevator too. Random, I know. Love y'all, she said.
Crazy. Oh my gosh.
And then this morning, Amanda Barnard said, just letting you know that there are lots of prayers coming to Miriam and her family this morning, which I, of course, appreciate very much.
Lovely. Very lovely.
She also said, I just know all the prayers for Thomas are pulling him through. He is such an inspiration. Thank you so much for that. And Deanna Hale said, so many prayers for T-Bone. Mock, you're such a rock star mom. And Daisy, what a cheerleader of a friend, sending all the strength. Thank you so much for that. Becca T in South Carolina said, "Oh, Mock, sending you the biggest hug and lifting Thomas up in prayer. May the Lord guide his doctors and wrap you and your family in the comfort of his love. Please take care of you and your precious family above us. We will be here and praying you on and eager to see and hear from you when you're able." Of course, T is a rock star. Do you even know his mom?
Right. It's true.
Audrey Krause 5 says, "Mock, continued prayers for your superhero Thomas. I'm glad he's doing better." Thanks, you guys. Now you.
Shelly Ethington, heading into Pilates, so going to finish later, but wanted to leave you with my prayers for Thomas's care and healing. Prayers for Mock and Mr. Mock. God has you in his hands. He does. Brenda Wilson, continued prayers for Thomas. Too bad the world is not as joyous as Thomas. That is so
Right?
true, Brenda. Oh my gosh. It'd be a better place. Marion Ashley, as for Bernie and AOC in Utah, they were in Salt Lake City and it's as blue as San Fran. Hard to believe, but they have a hardcore leftist population in SLC. Fortunately, the rest of Utah is red. Okay, I didn't know that.
Fair.
Teresa Raimundo, the LA crowd probably had 6,000 people in tents because they're homeless, so they were stuck. Utah has garnered people that have left California and other states bringing their stupid baggage with them. Brian Brumley, hey, Spartacus, why are you gay? Jennifer, no. Thank you so much for that. Very generous super sticker. So sweet. I will be sending lots of prayers for Thomas and, of course, Mock and the family to feel God's love, strength, and peace today. I just lit a special Easter candle for Thomas here in the hospital chapel. It's so sweet. Sending so much love and many hugs. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
So lovely. Tammy Pfeiffer. In Florida, years ago, I got a state ID for my kids. You need social security number, birth certificate, and proof of address. Simple. That's how you get a star. You only need it once. Risky buck. Real ID. I showed all that crap 40 years ago. Why do I have to dig it out again? It's just a moneymaker for states making bank for all missing docs and ID charge. I'll be using a passport, which I've had for 40 years.
Which is fine.
I guess you can do that.
You can do it.
Jose Rodriguez. Mock, thanks for the scare this AM, and then thanks for not personally notifying me you were going to live. Thank you for
going live. I think you said going live.
Oh my God, you're going live. Thank you for this. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Prayers for Thomas and for your fam, and also that you were not. Thank you also that you were not going to live. You know, people want to know. People want to know that you're okay.
Oh my gosh. I hope that this day is uneventful and that I'm here as normal tomorrow. That's my plan. That is the plan for right now.
That's the plan for right now. We'll see how it goes. And but I feel like he's getting better. I feel like everything is great.
He is too.
And you know what? Prayer works. So keep them coming, you guys.
Keep them coming, please. Please.
You guys bring it in. Bring it in. Hi, Theo. Hi. Hi. Theo says hi. You guys see him in the back there. Yeah, he says hi. You guys have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Hello, beautiful people. This is the Chicks on the Right's Indian correspondent. Thank you for watching or listening. Be very sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay up to date on all of their delicious content. Okay, thank you. Come again.